Good evening, happy Sunday, welcome to Kitchen Table Talks. I am Paul Stoltzfus, and you know that song, Where Did You Come From, Where Did You Go, Where Did You Come From, Cotton Eye Joe? Well, in the last 40 years, when someone would call out my name in a crowd, and I don't even see them, but the way they address me, I know about which decade they got to know me, because my name evolved from Paul Daniel Stoltzfus. I was born in 1977 to Daniel and Lydia Stoltzfus, and my mom always tells a story that when she was pregnant with me, she went to Lancaster General Hospital, and I think it was corn picking time. That would make sense, it'd be kind of late, but I guess it'd be corn picking time. And she tells a story that mom wanted to deliver me. Now mom is a type A, she's a go-getter. She's like, she talks with her hands, you know where I get this from. But the doctor told her, no, you're not ready to deliver yet. I tell you what, you need to walk around the city. So mom walked around Lancaster City, I don't know where, but I know to this day, I just thought about today, maybe that's why I love to walk around Lancaster City. Now, she probably didn't stop at all the shops that I stopped, and I'm sure Lancaster City was way different back then than it is now. But if I feel like I need to kind of reset, I go downtown, and I'll park at the Prince Street Garage, and I just walk. I'll go to one coffee shop to the next, and just talk to people and sit and relax. So anyway, after mom walked around a while, she went back to the hospital, and the doctor said, you're not going to deliver anytime soon, just go home. So I think the story is they went home, and as soon as I got home, she said, I'm having this baby, and she went back to the hospital, and I was born soon. So I was Paul Daniel Stoltzfus. My grandpa's name is Paul, my dad's name is Daniel, and Stoltzfus is a family name. So there's nothing new about me, I'm just everyone else. And I know that I know nothing on my own. Everything I know is from what everybody else does. And so the only thing I bring to the world is repackage the stuff and send it back out to people. But, Paul, yeah, so my grandpa was Paul, and at grandpa's funeral, all the Pauls were pallbearers, and that was, that whole funny story I talked about a while back. But, I told you that when any of you that are watching, when you tell me, you address me, I know when you got to know me. So the first one was Paul Daniel Stoltzfus. Hey Dad, maybe you can tell the story better. Was it at a corn picking time, and the doctor said that I'm not ready to be born, and you guys walked around the city? Isn't that what happened? I think so. So we were Beachy Amish, so that's basically Mennonite, and everyone called me Pauly. So when we went to Summit View, everyone at Summit View called me Pauly. My Amish cousins called me Pauly, and I was always kind of annoyed. I think when I was about in second grade, I was annoyed that people called me Pauly. I thought it just felt like a little kid, and I wanted to be called Paul Daniel. And Mommy Stoltzfus was the first one that would call me Paul Daniel. And the one I hated worst was, I think, Eddie Rife. He would call me Pauly Daniel. I hated that. To this day, I cannot stand Pauly Daniel. And I think it actually affected how I don't like Eddie Rife, because I just didn't like that. So that was the Amish decade. And then in third or fourth grade, the Laps came to Melita School. And in Melita School, the education there wasn't very great. In fact, I didn't learn how to read until I was about in the second grade. And let me put this light up. And actually Dave Stoltzfus, Wilmer's Dave, he kind of taught me how to read because he came for half-day school when he was 15. So that was Pauly, Melita. And then around third or fourth grade, the Lap boys came and they saw, Paul Daniel. So they nicknamed me PD. So that was the next decade. So in school, from then on, I was PD. I mean, at the other school, they called me Paul, but most of my Summit View friends to this day call me PD. So when someone calls me PD, it's like all the people from Summit View Church, and some from Weavertown Church went to the Beachy Church next. But most of my preteen years and even teenage years, I was PD. And then when I was about 16 or 17, Lindy Fisher invited me to go to Lancaster City, to go to some of the shelters in Lancaster City. And we just played games and had snacks and stuff with some of the kids in Lancaster City. The one shelter was, I think it was on Prescott Street. I'd like to go back to those shelters again. But it was just a bunch of, 5 or 6 of us would go in and play games. And I introduced myself as PD. And the kids were like, oh, PD Bird. and I guess that was a cartoon. I didn't know. I was so stupid. I didn't, we didn't watch TV, so I didn't even know what PD was. And so they say PT, and then that led to Pete. And I was Pete for many years, in my teenage years. And at Weavertown, most of the people, even to this day, who say, hey, hi, Pete, it must be people that were involved with the shelter and at Weavertown. And then about 19 or 20, I got a job at Ash Computer Center because I was going to go to Millersville University because I wanted to be a pediatric neurosurgeon. So I had to get a part-time job and go to college. So I figured, well, I'll get a job at either Ash Computer Center, or I think the interview that one day was at the chicken stand at Adiner's restaurant. And I ended up going to Ash Computer Center, and that's where Paul began. And Paul was kind of my name ever since. Most of you know me as Paul now. But it's interesting looking back at our formative years and all the things that we learn here. And so now I find myself, wondering, like, what did all these years teach me and what did I learn? And last week, Brene Brown, I was reading the book Dare to Lead, and she talked about shame and that a lot of the gremlins that keep us from becoming what we are and what we're talented at is that either we think we're worth nothing, like we're worthless, like you're not worth anything, you can't do that. You can't do that. And then when we actually become good at what we're talented at and actually start doing it, then the next gremlin says, like, you're too big for your britches, or like what my family would say is, don't let that get to your head. Like, you're too big feeling for that. And so those are the two voices that always shut me down. And looking back at that, I realized that I probably have gifts that I'm not even doing what I'm best at even now. Because I do lawn care, I do real estate, I'm a distributor for those holistic nutrients, and with all three of those, they're all high quality things, and I do a pretty good job. But what I love doing is talking and teaching. And someone said already, whoever's in the front of the room with the marker, that's the person who makes all the money. So I guess I should start having a marker and telling stories. And so that's what I'm doing tonight, telling you where I've come from. Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe? And where I've come from is all these places, and I don't know where it's going to take me. And so the other thing I was reading last week in John Acuff's book, Finish, is that life is a game, or business is a game. And when you go to the game closet to play a game, which game are you going to pick out? Are you going to pick out a game that you're going to keep on losing over and over and over again? Or do you tend to pick out a game that you can win? Well, of course, we're going to tend to pick a game that we're going to win because it's a lot more fun. So look at your own life, and I look at my life and say, hey, am I really playing the game I can win at? And so, I'm looking back, okay, with Wisegrass, I'm really good at growing grass, but am I actually doing, playing in my gift the most? I'm really good at teaching people how to grow grass, or at least being entertaining about teaching people how to grow grass. I don't know if anyone learns anything, but I love talking about it, and people seem to enjoy listening about growing grass. And so there's that. In real estate, I love bringing order to chaos. There's nothing more than I love. I'm holding all these markers. In real estate, I really enjoy talking to people for the first time in a listing presentation and ask them, hey, what are you up against? And when do you want to make this happen? And what are you excited about doing? Bring some order to chaos, list the house, put it for sale, and sell it, and help them to move on. And I think, kind of by accident in real estate, I learned that what I'm good at doing is hearing people's story. And my ladybug here tells me it's 15 minutes, so I got to wrap this up, right? Or I would talk forever. In real estate, I learned that I'm good at listening to people's story, bringing order to chaos, and then moving the deal along and not get caught in the weeds too much. So that's interesting. In the network marketing business I'm in, I actually got into that because I had brain fog and it had low energy, and so I used the product for half a year, and now I'm kind of getting into it's like, oh, I can maybe sell this stuff too, and that's actually exciting. And who knows, I might be able to make some money with doing that. But what I really like about the supplement business is it helps me show up and be my best, bring the best to the table. So anyway, that's my life. Hope you learned a little bit about me, and so I'm curious to know, those of you who are listening, in the comments, write the name that you would address me as, because that'll tell me immediately when you got to know me. So it's either Paul Daniel Stoltzfus, Mommy Stoltzfus is the only one who knows me as that, and she's long gone. Pauly, I hope not many of you would know me as Pauly. PD or Pete, probably half of you on here know me as that. And Paul, maybe you current ones know me as that. So, Cotton Eye Joe, where did you come from? Where did you go? Where am I going to go to? I don't know, but I know this, that I'm excited about thinking more about what game am I good at playing. And not just by myself. I know I played this game alone, and Anna told me, just start playing in the sandbox. Stop building, because when I was in the sandbox, I would spend all day long. Like, I would carve out the streets, start building the house, a barn, a pond. Like, every time I did it, I would make the streets, and I'd build a house, a barn, and a pond. That's what I did every day, and it would take me all day long. In fact, I would forget lunch. I would forget I had to go to the bathroom. I actually peed myself already because I didn't go to the bathroom. Hey Chet, PD or Pete? Yeah, right on. I figured that's what you would say. And so Anna would sit on the side of the sandbox watching me build this stuff, and she would just be like this all day long, just waiting till I would say, come play, come play. And then I would never play. And so I think that's where I'm kind of at right now in life. Like, I am playing in the sandbox, but I want to build and build and build. I forget about actually playing with what I've built. So it's going to be interesting how the next year and a half is going to turn out. And in Wisegrass, some really fun stuff. I've been doing lawn care since 2003. And for the last 3 years, I was just trying a do-it-yourselfer program, is where I drop off fertilizer for people. And so I thought, hey, if I could teach people how to do their own fertilizer, how fun would that be? And have a video like maybe 5 times a year, and just tell them what to do. Go out to developments every other week, and have a little seminar on how to do your own lawn care. Maybe have a little stitcher, a little spreader. And there's no reason why people can't do their own lawn care. I mean, just like a babysitter. Some people have a nanny for their kids. And if you hire someone for your lawn care, that's like having a nanny for your lawn. You really can do a better job yourself. So I believe that with lawn care, if you take a little bit of time and interest, you can do a better job with your own lawn care than even hiring me with my best lawn care package. Because here's the thing, I can't get around. I can't get to everybody. And I kind of am not good at hiring people myself. So I'm either going to find a partner that's good at hiring people, buying trucks and all that, and I can still talk and sell. But for right now, I've kind of reached the ceiling where I have as many people as I can take care of. In fact, some of you're still waiting on a quote. I think there's 5 people that haven't gotten a quote this fall. And, I'm sorry about that. And it's like, I can only do what I can do. And so I'm going to have to make changes and adjust. And that's going to be exciting. And then what happens is, over the winter, I have 3 months that there's no lawn care to do. So that's why I got into real estate. I'm working on finding a farm for this tomato manufacturer right now. That's super fun. But that'll take a year to figure out. In fact, we're working, that's a really exciting project actually. I hope to be able to share more about that as more develops. But we're finding some really good leads. Basically finding a farm and turning it into high-tech farming. Some really super high-end stuff. That's fun. So enough for now. He who has the marker makes the most money. So this might be the beginning. Have a good weekend. Drop a comment in the comments of who you know me as, and we will see you next week.